Okay, so picture this. It's like a massive popularity contest, right? But instead of like people, it's apps battling it out for the top spot in the US App Store.
Hmm.
What do you think is sitting on that throne as we wrap up 2024?
Hmm. Tough one. Probably something social media, right? Maybe a game?
Well, we actually got some pretty fascinating data from a podcast called Startup News, a tech-focused show. And they dove deep into download numbers, which I think gives a much more interesting view,
Hmm.
versus just what Apple decides to feature.
Yeah, for sure. Like Apple's picks definitely influence what people download, but seeing what folks are actually using day to day, that tells a different story.
Totally. So get this, the reigning champ, holding on to its crown from last year, Temu.
Oh, wow. Temu. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
That Chinese shopping app. It's clearly hitting a nerve with, well, a lot of people.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. Those flash sales they're known for definitely create that sense of urgency, almost like a fear of missing out.
Right, right.
And then, throw in some personalized recommendations, and boom, you've got this like perfectly tailored shopping experience that plays right into those impulsive urges. It's actually pretty clever from a marketing perspective, but as a user, it's good to be mindful of those tactics.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to get swept up in the excitement of a deal,
Yeah.
especially when it feels like it's like made just for you. Okay, so Temu's number one, but things get a little more, well, interesting when you look at the social media landscape. Instagram threads
Mm.
snagged the second spot.
Really?
Yeah. Meanwhile, TikTok, which has been, dealing with that potential U.S. ban, dropped down to number three.
Huh. I think that reflects the uncertainty around TikTok. Users might be checking out alternatives just in case it vanishes.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's a good reminder of how quickly things change in the world of social media. I mean, one day you're the top, the next, who knows?
For sure. And speaking of change, the number four spot, this one's a real head turner. ChatGPT. Yeah. Surged ahead, even surpassing Google search.
That's pretty huge.
Right. I think it shows how much people are relying on AI for, well, everything. It's not just convenience anymore. I think it's a fundamental shift in how we access information. We're moving away from keywords and searches to like these conversational interactions with AI.
That's a really good point. But it also makes you think about the potential downsides, right? Like, how do we know the information we're getting is accurate and unbiased?
Yeah, exactly. It raises a lot of questions about the future of, well, knowledge itself. And while ChatGPT's climb is significant, there's also this decline we can't ignore. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp still in the top 20, but their rankings are slipping.
I think that ties into the growing concerns about Meta's platforms. We've seen data breaches, algorithms that feel manipulative, and the spread of misinformation. It's a lot to grapple with as a user.
It is. And I think people are becoming more and more aware of those issues. They want more control over their data, more privacy. So maybe this decline reflects that shift in values.
That's a really interesting perspective. I think you're right.
So before we rack things up, I wanted to touch on a few other apps that stood out on the list. CapCut, for example, shows just how much people love creating those short-form videos.
It's everywhere now.
Totally. And then there's Shine, which continues to ride that fast fashion wave.
It's interesting, right, how these trends reflect what's happening in society. The need for instant gratification, the obsession with visual content, the allure of cheap, trendy clothes, it all kind of ties together.
Yeah, it's a fascinating snapshot of where our digital attention is going.
Mm.
And I think the big takeaway here is that the app landscape, it's always evolving. What we see today could be completely different in a year or even just a few months.
Definitely. And that makes me wonder, what does all this tell us about the future of technology and how we're going to interact with it? Like, will AI become our main way of accessing information? Will social media platforms continue to, like, splinter and specialize?
Those are really big questions. It's almost like, are we in control of technology or is it starting to control us? Still
Uh-huh.
a lot to ponder for sure. And we want to hear from you too. What app trends have you noticed? Any apps catch your eye lately? What do you think is driving those changes? Jump into the comments and share your thoughts.
Always interesting to hear what other folks are seeing.
Absolutely. All right, that's it for our deep dive this week. Catch you next time.
See ya.